Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Pierre Speaks, and I am Pierre Sledge, and hopefully I can take you on a journey to discuss thought-provoking trends and topics of the day. This is my first episode, my first post. So again, I welcome you all, and I thank you all for coming to check me out, and hopefully I can give you some sort of hopefully I can leave you with something that has you thinking beyond the minutes of this video. So what I want to talk about today is something that's going to be hitting me very soon. Next week, I start graduate school. I'm 43 years old. So for some of you, that may seem a little crazy, but for me, with all the things that I've gone through regarding school, and I've been to a lot of schools, well, about 4 or 5 schools total that I've attended. But it just made me start thinking about things, and a lot of it has to do with the cost of education in America. And it made me pose the question, is the cost of education worth the eventual vocation in America? So let me give you some background on me. As I stated, I am 43 years old. I have an undergraduate Bachelor's of Science degree in health education. I am from the city of Cleveland. I'm a city kid. I'm from a public school system that is not very good. I was not prepared at all for what it entailed to go to college, to not even just go to college, to apply for college. So you take a kid from the city who at the time, my family was in a lot of struggles. We were having hard times, and you just stick them in this environment, and a lot of it was just self-discovery without any prior knowledge. So what I discovered is that, first of all, I didn't have any financial contribution from my family. So this was all on me. So I used my state resources, which are state grants, and I used my federal resources, which are Stafford loans and the like. And again, all on me. Grants you blow through pretty quickly, but so you usually, if you have to take the full amount, you usually wind up depending more on the loans. They usually give you the option of taking the maximum or as much as you need. And again, a kid from the city doesn't have much. I took the maximum, and I just didn't get the necessary guidance from anyone about taking the maximum. So what I discovered quickly in terms of a college semester is that there's always a holiday within the college semester, and it's within the first month usually, and that's when refund checks come in. So when refund checks come in, there's a lot of kids who are just living the life or whatever. Now around me, I watched a lot of kids do this. There was a lot more drinking, a lot more getting high, a lot more partying and things like that, a lot more frivolous spending. For me, I actually used my refund check to live. I didn't have a job at the time. I was still, I had a tough time at first because of the things that were going on at home. So I was still trying to find my way around the college environment, the college lifestyle. But I did use my money to live. I used it for expenses, for books, for food. I did use it for pleasure and personal things, but far and away it was to live off of it. I paid my rent with it. I lived in an apartment, and while that may seem like a luxury, it was not. With the dorms that we had at that particular school, it was horrific. Infested roaches and things like that, and I just wasn't living like that. And one of the unconventional things I would say I did with my money was, because we were having such a hard time at home, my parents, and they were going through a really rough time, I wasn't asked. I just took it upon myself to contribute to the family, and I really gave my parents a nice chunk of money just to help out. And that was just, I felt compelled to do that. Now in hindsight, this money was for my education. I could have used it for something else for sure, and maybe that wasn't as prudent as it was impulsive, but nevertheless, it made me feel better about things at the time. Maybe later on I didn't feel so good about it. That's kind of a summary of my first foray into an experience with government financial aid. Now that I'm 43 years old and been out of school for, I think this is my 16th year that I will have been out of since I've graduated from undergrad. And one of the things that I've discovered is that I have now hit a particular point in which my bachelor's degree won't go any further. Now you can say that, oh, you look for tenure as that other thing that gets you to where you need to be. Well, I've been laid off 4 times since I've been out of school, and a lot of other things have happened that have kind of contributed to me not being places for as long as I would have liked to have been. But again, having to start over 4 times is a chore in itself in 16 years. So the longest job I've had since I've been out of school was 6 years, and I was laid off from that job last year. So here I am again, and realizing the brutal truth of where I'm at. Now you could say part of this has to do with what field I've chosen to be in, and that's the health field. Not necessarily teaching, because at a certain point, while it's health education, I decided that I did not want to teach kids. And I'm glad, and I don't regret that at all, because I know that I don't necessarily have the patience to have dealt with children that's necessary to be a good teacher. So I'm glad I didn't. And if I had, perhaps I wouldn't have found something that I was better at later on like I did. Yeah, I didn't go to med school or anything like that. So yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of people who have gone to that length of it and done school at that degree where they feel like absolutely their vocation, it was worth everything, the financial burden of having loans and things like that, and having that great debt heaped upon you. So there are those people. There are attorneys that I'm sure feel the same way. And I do have people that have been in my life who are in these professions who may have that sentiment. Personally, after assessing where I've been and where I'm at, I'm going to say for me, it hasn't been. Because in hindsight, and I think about this a lot, I could have just come out of school at the time. I graduated in 99. And at that time, there wasn't this big boom of the health careers that there became like later on in the 2000s. But back then, there wasn't as big a waiting list for a lot of programs that were in demand, like X-ray tech, like some of the nursing programs, polysomnography, MRI, physical therapy, things like that, physician assistant, any of those programs. But now, later on, when I discovered or kind of started to think about it and realized that I wanted to do something like this, the waiting lists were exorbitantly long. It would have taken me, like in some programs, 3 to 4 years to even get my application looked at to get into school. And that wasn't feasible for me. So in my situation, it's hard for me to say that the cost was worth it, because here I am in a job. I'm still working a job. And I guess for some people it's respectable to say you have employment. I just feel like having a job is nothing. I don't know. It's just, I think anyone can work a job, but for me, I need to have a more fulfilling experience than beyond working and or just working to pay bills. And I think there should be more to it than that. I know some people cannot get, they just feel like, hey, this is how it is. You work, you pay your bills. Well, I'm just kind of, I peel back layers, and to me there has to be another layer to life, and I truly believe that. And I think that's why I'm where I am, because I have not been satisfied in the jobs that I've had. So what I'm looking for now is to, even at this late stage in my life, not that I'm that old, some people would disagree, but whatever, but not that I'm that old, I still think that it's more than salvageable, it's more than feasible for me to do this. I feel like this is everything that I need to do now. But even with that said, it's hard for me to justify the heaping amount of debt that I've incurred to do this. I am going to be in debt with student loans up to my hairline, for the rest of my life. I know there are options for loan forgiveness that I will explore. And so I look back at some of the health careers programs that I kind of gotten into in the late 90s. And when I first came home, or not even that, I could have bypassed going to college altogether, gone into these, health career program, done the 2 years that it takes to get certified and licensed, and been working in the field for like the last 15 years. So, I could have gotten in on that part. I could have gotten in on that surge of careers early, and I probably would be in a more gainful position. I do acknowledge that, and it's kind of regrettable for me, but I didn't. I was still in school. I went to school late. I didn't graduate till I was 27, so and I still, even when I came home, I didn't know necessarily what I wanted to do, but I had this degree and I tried to figure it out, and it's just, I took the long road. That's kind of, I guess I'm known for that. I went back to school when I was late anyway, so I'm just continuing that tradition, I suppose. Now, to completely flip it and peel back another layer, the experiences that I had in college were priceless. It's complete culture shock, but it was mostly about the experience. It taught me to be more well-rounded and more of a broad person, and to be able to deal with people who were not necessarily like me, people who didn't come from the same background that I came from. And it taught me to be more sensitive, more compassionate about people from different backgrounds. And that, to me, that's the part of my education that I feel like was well worth it. Outside of that, there's no way. I would have just gone and done a 2-year program and chopped that debt in half, and not nearly, the debt in half I could probably see an end in sight as far as paying it in my lifetime, but now I don't really see me paying it in my lifetime. So, whatever. But I guess I never stopped searching for that thing that was going to compel me, and that I felt like I could mesh with and become. And I think I finally found it. And so next Monday I'm starting my my graduate program for a Master's of Health Science, and I'm hopefully looking to do some teaching as a result at the end of this journey, and teaching adults and just making an impact on the world that's indelible, and that can just make this world a better place for the next person and next person and next person. It's just more about having an awareness of society and wanting to give back. And I feel like this is the best way that I can give back and give of myself. So let me know what you think. Drop comments in the comment section. I want to hear from you. I want to know what your experience has been. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell me why. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Hopefully you'll rock with me. Subscribe to the channel, and I can put out more videos, thought-provoking, provocative videos that'll get us all buzzing, and we can just build a great community and just try to make the world better. Thank you for coming to my channel. This is Pierre from Pierre Speaks. Be well. That's my word.